Hey guys, I'm ANT Designs and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I am going to be introducing you guys to someone very special to me, my mother. For those of you who don't know, I've been cosplaying for almost 11 years now. I started cosplaying when I was around 13 years old. I've been very lucky that I've had very supportive parents the whole time. So I thought it could be very interesting to introduce you guys to my mother, who is the one who's more involved in my cosplaying, and kind of give you guys some insight on her experience as raising someone who ended up not only continuing to cosplay, but as someone who ended up studying in the field, and in general, her support is what led me to being the cosplayer I am today. Also, a little heads up, I will not be putting any music in the background of this video as we decided to film outside, so the lighting will be weird and there will be a lot of wind. So no background audio for this video. Sorry about that. And without further ado, let's get to the questions. Hey guys, I am here with my mom. People in the cosplay community like to refer to her as Mama Sue.
Hi.
So I'm gonna ask her several questions that myself and some friends came up with about me being a cosplayer, since I've been cosplaying since I was about 13 years old and I am now 24 years old. So she's seen me through a lot of different experiences throughout the years. So the first question is, do you remember when I first expressed that I wanted to cosplay, and how old I was and how did I bring it up?
Oh my, that would have been really young when Sailor Moon was on TV and you started playing with Sailor Moon dolls and wanted a Sailor Moon costume. So I whipped up something really fast for you, your sister, and your cousin, and you started playing Sailor Moon.
I guess that was our first cosplaying experience.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And when I first started calling it cosplay, I was around 13.
Yes.
Yeah. That actually too, that was our first time.
Yes,
Yeah. So what was your first impression of cosplay as like a thing when I brought it up to you when I was a little older?
I don't think I really understood the whole mechanism of cosplay until we went to Otakucon. That's when I realized the extent of what cosplay was all about.
You just thought it was dress up?
I just thought it was make-believe dress up. Yes.
Yeah, which in a way it kind of is. It's just depends on how you interpret it and how you enjoy it. Why were you so quick to support me and help me out with cosplay?
Well, because cosplay is really interesting in as much that it involves a lot of skills. It's creative. It was something that you were passionate about, so why not give you the opportunity and the tools like sewing to be able to create what you wanted to create. So I thought it was a great life skill.
Yeah, I would agree. Did you ever have any concerns when I first expressed that I wanted to go to a convention?
Well, absolutely. You were never going to go to a convention alone at the age of 13. So it meant me driving you an hour away and being your shadow buddy with your friends to make sure that you stayed together and that nothing happened to you.
Yeah. Montreal is a very big place. The place we are from is not.
Exactly.
Very big difference. What is your favorite convention to go to with me? Because you've been to quite a few throughout the years.
Oh boy. It really depends. I love Otakucon in as much that the costumes there are out of this world, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they're so diverse from what is available or what's out there. But if you want something relaxing and low-key and just fun and friendship, then obviously I just really love the one that's up.
YetiCon.
YetiCon.
YetiCon's
Yes.
good. My mom has been to the first and second years of YetiCon and enjoys it thoroughly.
I would go back.
Yeah, it's a good time. Do you have any advice for parents who have kids who want to cosplay but are unsure about letting them cosplay?
I think you should. You should encourage them. Let them choose a character that they know. Look up the character on
Make sure it's appropriate.
Google. Make sure it's something that is doable as far as a costume. And then, so you're going to spend a little bit of money and you're going to go to a local con and watch the antics because they will have fun. They will see all kinds of characters that they like and you just follow along and take pictures and let them have fun. Just watch how excited they will be. So it's a great experience.
Yeah. And also, a lot of times parents end up enjoying it as well. Like she said, she actually enjoys going to conventions sometimes just to kind of be like, that's a neat costume, and just people watch. It's fun.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about cosplay?
Favorite thing about cosplay, not conventions, but cosplay itself.
Yep.
I think the whole idea of cosplay is taking an animated object or person and figuring out how to make it as close to the...
Like making it into a real thing.
Yeah, and some of them are really difficult to do. So then of course, you know me, I like to do things on the cheap. So
Yep.
It's how can we do this without it costing you a lot of money and still looking like the character? using the skills that you have. So that's what I think is fun. And watching you grow, because your first costume and the costumes today are night and day.
Very different.
But certainly cosplay has given you the passion to want to pursue a career in fashion and in sewing and in crafting. And so it's given you that encouragement to pursue that kind of a career.
And that is actually about the next question. It is, when I started to cosplay, did you ever imagine it would lead me to get interested in studying in fashion and costume and eventually lead me to the career that I have today in the fashion industry?
No, not at all. We were actually, at the time, you were also very interested in astronomy.
Yes.
So we thought, an astronomer, budding astronomer, but cosplay, especially the masquerade, and especially when people were stopping you to take your picture, you could see where it was you were getting more interested in it and really wanted to pursue the sewing aspect and the design aspect. So yes, as we progressed in age, we saw that this was becoming more and more a thing. Obviously, when you started making dresses for yourself to go to school, prom dresses, so on and so forth, that was a real telltale.
Yeah. So next question is, how were you involved in my cosplay creations, essentially?
Well, that was rather interesting because oftentimes you would have an image, show it to me, and then you and I would talk about, okay, you're going to have to make this type of a pattern, or we're going to have to take this pattern and that pattern and collaborate on cutting it and altering it.
We had many brainstorming sessions.
But then when it became really technical or challenging, for example, your twin Rova, when we came up with the hard hat.
Oh, the big things.
The big things, and Urbosa.
She was the one who came up with the idea, well, what if we put a hard hat inside the wig? And then I realized, hey, that could work, and it worked.
Or your Impa, when you had to have that perfectly round belt buckle that was huge, and it was like, I just cleaned up my oven.
And found a
ring, and it worked perfect. Or when we had to make the Lissa hoop skirt, and it was like...
So I've talked a lot on my channel about the Lissa hoop skirt. It's by far probably the weirdest thing I've made, in the fact that it's made of duct tape. And it was
wire.
Yeah, duct tape and the steel strapping from a lumber yard.
Yeah.
And originally I was like, how the heck am I going to do this? And then she kind of was like, well, if you use duct tape, I was like, oh no, that wouldn't work because it would look kind of like duct tape. And then we found metallic duct tape one day in Michael's, and we kind of looked at each other like, this could work.
So,
she helped me with that.
So that makes it fun for a parent who has a child that wants to get into cosplay, regardless of what kind, because sometimes it means using boxes, sometimes it means finding pieces of foam and changing it. But as a parent, you can help them, guide them, and come up with ideas that they may not be aware of. So what made it fun for me was I was able to use some of my creativity in helping Annie create her things.
Yeah, and I would say it's actually something I recommend to any parent who is thinking of getting into cosplay. Like, some of my favorite memories of working on cosplay has been brainstorming with my mom, and her and I just sitting down like, how do we make this thing that's not actually possible in real life into a real thing? How do we do that? And then brainstorming ideas and listing out ideas. It's actually really fun.
Exactly.
And now I have some questions that some people sent me over on Instagram. So the first one is, how long did it take you to realize that it wasn't just a phase?
I think by the time I'd say probably 4 or 5 years. When you got to be 16, 17, you started looking at career options. At that point, it was like, you know what? This is something you like to do. What kind of career can you do with cosplay? And even though it was new and there were a lot of people who were actually making a living, I just didn't see that as being possible. But the fashion industry, with their creativity, and you and I were getting caught watching Say Yes to the Dress and all kinds of sewing, RuPaul, that sort of stuff. It kind of went, you know what, this is a great fit for your passion.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I realized quickly that in cosplay and such, wow, it seems really bright. I realized pretty quickly that in cosplay and such that I enjoyed the sewing aspect, and not everyone else enjoys that aspect, but there's a lot of things within cosplay that someone might enjoy. So when I realized that was something I enjoyed sitting at my sewing machine and working on pieces, the problem solving involved in it, and that's how I ended up actually in my career. How awkward would it be when I came out and just in full costume sometimes when you weren't expecting it sometimes? I was just kind of like, I have my costume on. Nowadays kids have like, they'll be in their bedrooms filming TikTok videos, so I didn't have that experience growing up, but my friends and I would go outside and just kind of film videos, so we'd be like coming out in costume kind
or
of
walking down the street.
Yeah,
I
down the
thought
street.
it was okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's no worse than Halloween, except that it's Halloween in the summer, the winter, the snowballs. So how did I feel about it? No, it was fine. I mean, it's not like you were exposing yourself. It's not like it was risque. It was fun, and you had fun with your friends, and yeah, I had no problems with it at
It was
all.
never awkward, really, because she knew I was making costumes, and after I finished a costume, usually I just put the whole thing on and be like, look, I finished it!
And we did photo shoots.
Yes,
did
we
lots
do
of photo
shoots,
shoots.
yes.
And that was part of the fun too.
Yeah, what creation of mine has been your favorite so far? I think I have
There
mine
are
too.
so many.
I think I know which one of mine would probably be your favorite, but I want to see what you come up with.
I don't know. I think there's more than one. Like,
Fair
I have to. So I really liked Mirror in as much that you learned, that forced you to learn how to smock.
Yep.
You did a lot of painting. You did a lot of unique eyelet work. I mean, it was a big project. And then you made the apple and the wig and the tiara. So that one took a lot of time, and that one turned out, you looked so much like the character.
And now I'm remaking it.
Yeah, but then I really liked Merida because she was quirky, and so when you put on the Merida costume, it was one of those costumes where you really got into the character.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun to watch you parade around as Merida. And
You also had fun helping me with that one because I didn't want your help on that one. But occasionally when I was painting that bottom detail on the skirt, I would occasionally walk into the kitchen and just see her kind of like sneakily painting some of the sparkles on. You see, you're always like, my turn.
And also, it was a costume that I wanted you to come to some of the local fairs, because at the time the kids really knew the thing. And that's the other reason that I think cosplay is so much fun, is once you get to a certain age and you cosplay a character that people know, it's to see the reaction of the little ones and even the adults who go, oh my god, that's Merida from the cartoon, or oh my god, that's, and you go, wow, people acknowledge it and they
people
know
really
it.
like it. It's really fun.
Exactly.
And that's rewarding on its own.
And that's fun to see your reaction, interacting, and people acknowledging and seeing the amount of work and so on. So all in all, it's great. Like, it's a good thing.
I'm actually going to add on an extra question because that made me kind of think of something. Because you've done a few cosplay things, but mostly just steampunk costumes. But if you could cosplay anything, what would you cosplay?
I don't know, because I don't really watch cosplay on TV. I'm not an anime person.
But it doesn't have to be anime. Because I know we were thinking one day we got to get you, with me as Merida, we got to get you as Queen Eleanor.
And Dad.
My dad really does. Not only does he like King Fergus, but he looks like King Fergus, so... You know, that's
that would be fun to do. A remake of that.
And my sister can be all 3 baby bears.
Yeah, there you go. When your child, you decide to take your kid to a convention, there are 2 things that you need to be aware of or you can participate at. One, you can, when they're really young, you shadow them and you make sure that they have a buddy, so that if they want to be by themselves, they don't want you in the picture, but you can shadow them at a distance of 15, 20 feet, which is what I did when Annie was 14, 15, because you never know. There's a lot of places for them to get into trouble, depending on the clientele that are there.
I just want to add something as well. When I was 13, some of my friends were still 12, so legally they could not be at that convention without her being with them directly until they were over 13. And you were okay with that, because they were signed, their badge numbers were on her badge, saying like, she's in charge of these children while she's there. Which you were like, yeah, of course I'm going to be there. Even if you guys didn't have that obligation, I was still going to be there.
But they didn't really realize that I was behind the scenes watching them. Like, they were far enough that they felt independent, but at the same time I was right there, that if I saw one of them sneaking off by themselves or some weird thing going on, I could see. The other thing is, as they got older, because some of the conventions have workshops and games and so much activity, then as Annie got older, 15, 16, 17, then as long as she was with a buddy and said we'd have a meeting place, okay, at 1 o'clock you meet me here, or if there was a forum that they wanted to go to, I would sit somewhere near the forum, people gaze, because that's interesting as could be.
Oh, yeah.
And read a book or play on my phone. And so we had meeting times that we would meet up. And then, of course, as she got older, I would just drop her off and say, see you in 6 hours and 10 hours, and I'd pick her back up. So you didn't have to physically attend.
She also did physically attend one convention with me when I was well into my adulthood, all the way in Fredericton, which is very far away from here. That is almost a day and a half's trip. And she drove me out there on her birthday and still had a good time, I think.
We had a
We had a very lovely time.
We had a blast.
Yeah, we had a very good time.
Yeah.
So those are all the questions that I asked my mom. If you guys can think of any more, maybe I can do a part 2 with her one day if she'd like. I really like to thank Mom for doing this with me. I really hope that this has given some insight to maybe some younger cosplayers, to some people who are just interested in my cosplaying journey, or even for parents who have kids who are interested in cosplaying, no matter how old they are, whether they're my age in their 20s or as young as 13 years old. Hopefully this has been helpful and insightful in different ways. If you've liked this video, be sure to check out other videos on my channel. I do a lot of videos on the subjects of cosplay, and be sure to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys later.